Hello all, in this video we will talk about MQTT protocol. So as we are talking about NodeMCU, in the future videos of NodeMCU we are going to use MQTT to communicate to the server. So let us learn about MQTT. So MQTT is the most popular protocol in the IoT domain. So if you ask any engineer working on the IoT domain, you get info that he is working on MQTT. So popular that every one of us mostly use MQTT in the IoT domain. So what does MQTT stands for? MQTT stands for Message Queuing Telemetry Transport. While this is a very old name, the roots of MQTT name is from Message Queuing Telemetry Transport only. Okay, and MQTT basically is a machine-to-machine network protocol. So this basically is a network protocol where a machine can communicate to another machine using MQTT. Okay, so as we said, it is a network protocol. MQTT has its roots from TCP/IP protocol, which is basically a network protocol. So MQTT we can say is based on TCP/IP protocol. So what is MQTT? MQTT is a lightweight publish subscribe type of messaging protocol. So MQTT is basically a messaging protocol. Ultimately, you are going to transfer the messages, and it is called a lightweight. So what do we mean by lightweight? Is this doesn't require that much of bandwidth. It is not a too protocol intensive in the sense there is a too much of complexity and which fits into the modern day IoT requirements. And if we see, this basically works on publish and subscribe model. So we will talk about publish and subscribe in the coming slides. So if you see the top image, we see that there are several sensors which are trying to publish some data to a device, something called MQTT broker. And then on the right side, we have PCs which are actually subscribing to this messages which are being published, and then MQTT broker further publishes the messages to the PC. So basically, in a MQTT, the sensor devices publishes the data, and any remote devices that are present, like we are talking about the PCs, right, can subscribe to the data and get the data. So that's about publishing the data. Now we were saying there is a MQTT broker in between. So MQTT broker basically is someone who helps connect these remote devices to the servers. So server or the end devices. So it's a machine to machine communication, as we were saying, right? Ultimately, the data will be received by someone who subscribes, and the data will be sent by the machine. So ultimately, in between, there must be someone who is going to validate the data, whether it is correct or not, and route it to a particular device which has subscribed to that data. So that guy is the MQTT broker. So if we see here, the one important thing, if we observe, the sensor need not bother about to whom it is sending the data. It is just going to publish the data to the MQTT broker, which has almost minimized the complexity, and a device which has subscribed need not every time go and ask for data, and when once subscription happens, the data will be received automatically. So the communication mechanism here got simplified, right? There isn't a too much of to and fro acknowledge kind of things here, right? That's the that's the beauty of this MQTT. So one important thing is, if we see the communication mechanisms before MQTT, devices in the IoT used to use HTTP protocol. HTTP protocol is a very, very commonly seen protocol, right? Which basically is the protocol which is used for internet, right? The web applications. If you are asking for some browsing some website, you are going to request a HTTP page from the server, right? So that was used initially in the MQTT, in the Internet of Things. But considering the complexity of the HTTP protocol, MQTT overtook that, and considering that it's a simplified, the lightweight protocol, we can say that MQTT is faster than HTTP protocol and is having a significant share. And one important point, when you are communicating between devices, the versions of MQTT is very important. So, as the publisher talks over a specific version, the subscriber also should be able to understand that version. The latest version of MQTT that is present right now is 5.0, which is a very, very important thing people need to know. And ultimately, we have talked about many points. Why do we need MQTT? So we need MQTT because we don't want to consume too much of power. That's very, very important thing in Internet of Things, right? And second thing, we don't have complex devices everywhere. We might have simple sensors which might have to communicate to the cloud or whatever, and we don't we sometimes also doesn't have the bandwidth in a specific scenario. Like example, we might have a limited bandwidth for communication. So considering all these cases where the resources are constrained, okay, and the bandwidth is constrained. When we say resources are constrained, simple devices like the sensor devices, bandwidths are constrained, and considering these scenarios, the device has to communicate to the external world. All these scenarios, if you see, MQTT is one of the best choice considering all these scenarios. And ultimately, if you consider all these, you can definitely see that the devices will be consuming lesser power, and low power is a very, very important thing in Internet of Things domain, right? So MQTT definitely helps in that aspect. There are several other variations of MQTT as well. So we are going to restrict the discussion, introduction of MQTT. We will talk more about the protocols, important terms like topics, broker, and how the communication happens. All these in the next videos before implementing the MQTT on the NodeMCU. Please post if you have any questions. Please let us know if you have any doubts. Thank you.